Intel and Stellaris has become increasingly important over time, especially with recent changes to combat mechanics, which have essentially turned all space battles into a complicated rock-paper-scissors game. And just like in rock-paper-scissors, if you know what your opponent is going to play before they play it, you are always guaranteed to win. Intel also lets you know when to attack and what strategies will result in success. So how does Intel work in Stellaris? After the Nemesis DLC, Intel was completely overhauled. Now Intel falls into a range between 0 to 100 points, and this determines how much information you have on any given empire. This level is changed and determined by multiple factors that I will cover, but first I'm going to explain what each level gives you access to. The information you gain access to through Intel is broken down into 5 areas of intelligence. These 5 areas are government, diplomacy, economy, technology, and military. There are also 5 stages of intelligence that you will go through in each of those areas at different rates. The 5 stages are none, low, medium, high, and full. Every 10 intel points, the stage each area of intelligence is in can change, and they change at different rates. At 0 to 9 points, all areas are in the none stage and no information is available. At 10 to 19 points, government enters the low stage, and this grants access to the empire's authority, ethics, and where their capital is and who their ruler is. At 20 to 29 points, diplomacy has entered the low stage. This grants access to the empire's diplomatic casus belli, rivals, federation, and relative overall power. At 30 to 39 points, all areas are at the low stage. This grants the names and systems of colonies, number of techs researched, military casus belli, location of star bases, relative economic, tech, and fleet power, as well as any invasion plans currently planned against you. At 40 to 49 points, government enters the medium stage. This grants access to civics, origins, governors, and number of relics. At 50 to 59 points, diplomacy enters the medium stage. This grants access to the diplomatic opinion breakdown, the diplomatic pacts, and the government community voting rationale. At 60 to 69 points, economy, tech, and military finally enter the medium stage. This grants access to all system locations and names, the location of colonies in their systems, the location of civilian ships, and most importantly, military ship details. With this information, you can design your ship specifically to combat your enemies. At 70 to 79 points, government enters the high stage. This grants access to empire size. At 80 to 89 points, diplomacy enters the high stage. This grants access to specialist tier. At 90 to 99 points, economy, tech, and military enter the high stage. This grants access to planet classes, military fleet locations, all information on colonies, subject resource production, and civilian ship orders. At 100 points, all areas enter the full stage. This grants access to the secret packs, orbital deposits, and current military fleet orders. If your intel level falls, the information previously available will still be available, but marked as outdated and will not continue to update until raised to its previous level. I know that was quite a lot of information, so feel free to screenshot here before I move on to how intel is gained and lost. Intel is gained and lost according to the intel cap in spy networks. When the current intel level is below the cap, it will raise by 12 points per year, and if it is above the cap, it will decrease by 1 per year. The intel cap can be changed in many ways. Upon first contact, the intel cap will be 10. If you have a commercial pact, guarantee independence, or a non-aggression pact, the intel cap will raise to 20. If you have a migration treaty, research agreement, you are both galactic community members, or you are their subject, the intel cap will raise to 30. If you are their overlord, have a defensive pact, federation association, or are in a hegemony federation, the intel cap will raise to 40. If you are the galactic custodian, your intel cap for all community members will raise to 45. If you are in a martial alliance, research cooperative, or trade league federation, your intel cap will raise to 50 with all members. If you are in a galactic union, your intel cap will raise to 60 with all members. If you are galactic emperor, you will have an intel cap of 65 on all galactic Imperium members. If the Imperial Security Directorate is passed and you're galactic emperor, your intel cap on all galactic Imperium members will increase to 80. Additionally, an embassy will add 20 intel cap, and each level of Federation centralization will also add an additional 10 intel cap. Additionally, you can add bonuses to whatever intel cap you would have otherwise. You can do this through several different ways. Researching colonial bureaucracy and galactic bureaucracy, and the Bureau of Espionage Edict, which for hive minds is called the Observation Instinct, and robots is called the Covert Analysis Algorithm, all grants an additional 10 intel cap on top of what you would have standardly with any treaties, etc., as well as an additional 40 for each stage of the Sentry Array as you construct that megastructure. Now that we understand how intel caps and base intel caps work, I can explain how to go over your intel cap using spy networks. Spy networks are created by assigning an envoy in the espionage section of an empire. Slowly over time, infiltration of that empire will increase, allowing you to gain more intel and execute operations. Every day, the spy network gains 1 point and an additional 0.0025 points per empire size, which is the equivalent of 1 point per 400 empire size. Essentially, the larger the empire, the easier it is to spy on, which makes sense in a practical sense. Overlords and subjects also gain an additional point per day when building networks against each other, which also makes a lot of sense. Every infiltration level is equal to 5 infiltration points, plus 5 times the current infiltration level. For example, if you are at infiltration level 4, it will be 5 plus 20. So the infiltration points to go to the next infiltration level will be 25. When the envoy is removed from the spy network, the infiltration level will drop by 1 every month. You do not see the infiltration points, but rather the infiltration level when you are looking at your spy network. The infiltration level has a max of 50, but this maximum, as well as the infiltration growth speed, can be raised in multiple different ways. The relative code breaking and encryption increases or decreases the infiltration growth by 10%, and the maximum by 10 levels, corresponding to if you are equal, below, or above the empire in code breaking and encryption. The criminal heritage civic will increase the infiltration growth by 20%. The shadow recruits tradition will increase the infiltration growth by 50%. The double agents tradition increases the max infiltration level by 10, and the Bureau of Espionage Edict increases the maximum by 10 points. Per asset, the maximum is also increased by an additional 5 levels. Per disinformation center, the maximum infiltration level increases by 5, and finally, The gather information operation temporarily increases the maximum infiltration level by 5 and stacks for at maximum 20. Now this brings us to operations. In part 2, I will be covering how operations and assets work, as this video is already quite long. If you found this video to be helpful or informative, please like the video. Feel free to leave any questions in the comments below. I will respond as quickly as I can. And if you would like to be alerted when this video and other videos on Stellaris and other games are released, please subscribe and click the bell icon.